Hello everyone, this is Ben Falcon's Media Corner back again with a brand new AK After a Soul review episode for today, which this is going to be on another film that I saw that was released of 2021, which this one is not a theatrical released film because this one is actually a film that was released on streaming services, and this movie was released on Disney Plus last year in November. And I did watch on that around November. I watched it a couple days after it was released on Disney Plus, and this one I just want to get this review out of my way so I can just focus on other stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing in the future, as well as the ones I do want to talk to you guys that I haven't had the time to do. But today I'm here to review. I'm going to review this film just to get out of my way. So today's review I'm here to talk to you guys about is the 2021 Christmas slapstick family comedy film, and this is the sixth installment to one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and that is Home Sweet Home Alone. Yep, I am reviewing this movie. So, Home Sweet Home Alone. This was directed by Dan Meza, director of Dirty Grandpa, and like I said, this is the newest entry to the series of the Home Alone franchise. And we follow this new kid protagonist named Max Mercer, played by Archie Yates, who you may know him as Yogi from Jojo Rabbit, which I really liked him in Jojo Rabbit, and so we now see him as the new kid protagonist in this film. So in this movie, of course, we see Max, his life. For him at the moment, thinks like he's not really that good at the moment because he thinks his family's not like paying much attention to him because his family's really busy at the moment because they're about to book their flight to Tokyo to spend their Christmas vacation. And so the next day, the family rushed to the airport to try and make their flight to Tokyo. But of course, what happens is Max gets left home alone, and when he finds out he is home alone, he has fun, does whatever he wants, until his mother realizes that they've left their son home alone, and of course, she has to try and return back home to make sure he's okay. And meanwhile, we follow these new group of burglars in this one, which are a couple this time, which consists of this couple named Jeff McKenzie and Pam McKenzie, played by Rob Delaney and Ellie Kemper, in which in what we see them doing in this movie is that basically they're targeting Max's home while he's home alone, is because Max went to their home to use the restroom for some reason, and then what happened was one of the valuable dolls that they've collected is missing, and they think that Max stole it from them, so they're targeting his home to break in to try and retrieve the doll they think that Max stole from them. And of course, when Max finds out what they're about to do to his home, of course, he has to defend off his home from these two burglars. So that's pretty much the simple story of the new Home Alone movie. Now, when it comes to this franchise of Christmas movies, the Home Alone franchise, obviously I do love the first two Home Alone movies. I obviously do love them. I do love watching those movies around every single Christmas time. I never get bored with them, and I have a pretty funny backstory for the first one. I used to be traumatized with the first one. I don't know why, but since then, in recent years, I have managed to overcome the trauma I faced with the first Home Alone movie. And since then, I've always loved the first Home Alone movie, and it is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. The second one, Lost in New York, I also love as well. And a lot of people say it's just essentially the first movie being remade again, but in New York with new characters. I do tend to agree with that. It's just like the first, but in New York. But still, though, I love the second one as well. I love watching the first two movies all the time with my family and friends every single Christmas time. But when it comes to the other entries of the franchise, 3, a lot of people tend to have mixed opinions on 3. People think 3 is okay, or just hate it or like it. I think it's okay. But there are some funny traps, but obviously I do not love the movie or anything. I just think it's an okay film. But for the other two films which those are TV movies, they're not theatrical films like the first 3, we don't tend to talk about those other two films at all, and I just don't want to say more about those ones. But for this new entry, I didn't know what to expect from this one, and I've heard a lot of people complain. I didn't even know this was actually an official sequel. This was a remake or reboot or anything like that. I was a bit confused of what it was though. Although I've heard it is set in the universe of like the first two movies, since there is one character who actually is in this movie. I'll say who it is soon, who's actually in the movie. But I was surprised with the cast who are in this movie. You've got Archie Yates from Jojo Rabbit, which I think he was really good in Jojo Rabbit. He was pretty funny as Yogi. You got Rob Delaney from Hobbs and Shaw. Deadpool 2, Tom and Jerry, and Ron's Gone Wrong. I do think he's a pretty funny actor. And you got Ellie Kemper, which he's pretty talented, and Pete Holmes, which he has done his own show, and I think he's pretty talented. And I was surprised with which character from the first movie was actually going to make a cameo in this one, and it ends up being Devin Raytrey from the first two movies, who you may know him as Buzz, Kevin's older brother, who's a bully. I was surprised he was actually in this movie ever since I found out and I just seen the trailer. And when I saw the trailer for this movie, I just didn't know what to expect from this one. I didn't even know if it was just going to be, or just straight up just pile of dog crap. So I watched this on Disney Plus a couple of days after it was released from its 12th of November release. And after watching on Disney Plus, I hated this movie. Yeah, you heard me right. Home Sweet Home Alone was just straight up awful from beginning to end. I hated this movie from beginning to end. There was nothing new at all for me that just felt pretty much welcoming to this new entry, because in this movie they're trying to basically throw a bit of nostalgia from the first two movies did, like this music score by the legendary John Williams, which I love the music score in the first two movies. They do show that in this one, but I just didn't feel anything at all, because for most of the majority of this film, I was just getting really bored with this movie, and I wasn't even having a good time with this one at all. The acting talent in this film, I thought everyone was really wasted in this film. Well, Archie Yates in the film, who plays the new kid protagonist in the film, Max, he wasn't too bad in the film, I would say, but it's not one of his best roles since Jojo Rabbit, which I liked him in Jojo Rabbit, but here I just didn't think he was that memorable enough for his character of Max, because we mostly don't really follow him in this movie that much, which I found it really surprising. And because we mostly follow in this film is just the bad guys in the film, the couple in the film, Rob Delaney and Ellie Kemper's character, these two bad guys. I just didn't even know what the writers were thinking of, and I didn't want to even feel rooting and tooting for these bad guys, because for what they're doing in the film is that they're trying to save their home from eviction, and there's this valuable doll to them that's really special to them, that's worth a lot of money, and then it's stolen, and they think that Max stole from them, and then the target is home to break in, to retrieve it after they think that Max stole the doll from them. And then of course Max has to defend off his home from these two bad guys from setting up traps and all that. Again, I don't know what the writers were thinking of to making these bad guys a bit likable or anything like that. And I just didn't feel anything at all for these two bad guys, and I didn't even feel anything for the kid as well, for rooting and tooting with them, because again, I was just getting incredibly bored with this movie. And as for other acting talents in the film, you got the mother in the film. I thought she really wasn't even that good in the movie. Pete Holmes, he was pretty bad. But for Devin Raytrey, who plays Buzz, who he made as from the first two films, he is actually in the movie again as Buzz McAllister, who he is a police officer. He wasn't too bad in the film, along with Archie Yates and all that. But for his character of Buzz, he's not even in the movie that much, which I found that a bit of a letdown for me. But anyway, for the story in the film, it's just a straight up copy and paste storytelling from the original film, and there wasn't even that new to me at all. That just didn't really surprise me at all, because I was just getting really bored and just not having a really good time with it at all. And the writing in the film was just straight up awful. Like, the jokes in the film were just absolutely awful, and I just didn't even laugh a single bit. I didn't even chuckle once. And I didn't even know and there was some writing elements to some of the characters in the film, like the couple in the film who are the burglars. I didn't know what the writers were thinking of, and I didn't even know why they were trying to make them root and toot for them, because I didn't even know what the hell was going on. And I was just having a WTF face while I was watching it, like that. And I didn't even feel rooting and tooting for the kid as well, because the kid didn't feel much. It wasn't even that focused enough in the film, which I found that I just didn't. Again, I just don't know what the writers. I didn't even know the writers. What the hell were they doing? But for the traps in the film, there are some trap elements from the first movie that are in this one. Like, there are some ice traps, barefoot traps, and all that. some trap stuff like that from the first movie and all that. And I didn't think the traps really were memorable enough. And just like I said, because again, like I said, I was just not having a really good time with this movie because I was just getting bored and I just kind of wanted to fall asleep while I was watching it. So in the end, Home Sweet Home Alone. This was just straight up a cash grab for 20th Century Studios. And this one was just obviously not a good entry to this franchise. And if you are a fan of the franchise, obviously I suggest just watching the first two movies every single Christmas time. But if you are curious of watching this one, it is streaming on Disney Plus because this is a straight up Disney Plus exclusive. So this is not a theatrical release. This is a straight up streaming service release, and this is actually the very first Home Alone movie to be a straight up streaming service release. While the last two was straight to TV movies. And like I said, if you are curious to watching this one, it is streaming on Disney Plus. But in the end, I've just got nothing else to say other than I just don't think I should just really recommend this movie at all. And as you might guess, I'm going to give Home Sweet Home Alone a 0.5 out of 5. I think we're just done with this franchise. I think this franchise just needs to stop here now. I think this one should definitely be the last one because again we are done with this franchise now. And obviously I do suggest just watching the first two movies every single Christmas time. But if you are curious of watching this one, it is streaming on Disney Plus for free. But personally, I do not really recommend this movie at all because this is just straight up an awful Christmas movie, and it's definitely one of my least favorite movies of 2021. But I would do a list of ranking my least favorite movies of last year once I see some more couple films that I missed a chance seeing last year. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After a Store review on Home Sweet Home Alone, and let me know what you think of Home Sweet Home Alone if you have seen this already. Did you personally liked it? Or did you just straight up hate the movie like myself? And please let me know what is your favorite Home Alone movie. Mine is, of course, the first Home Alone movie. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. And as always, this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.